Welcome to the Christie Taylor Show. Super excited to have you here. Here we are in the month of love, and a great way to kick off February in this love month is to talk about love and relationships, particularly dating. Soul care for Black women, that's going to be the main focus. And to help me do just that, an amazing young lady that I had the joy of meeting in Memphis who now makes Dallas her home, none other than Tracy Ready. Now, let me tell you about this amazing lady. She's a dating consultant plus therapist, affectionately known as the dating doctor by her clients. Tracy Ready is America's #1 dating consultant for single Black women. She's a believer, wife, author, and emotional intelligence strategist who takes single women on a unique healing journey that breaks soul ties, increases their confidence, and opens the possibility to meet suitable relationship ready men. Her Ready to Date Academy programs disrupt self-sabotaging cycles and patterns. She is also the influencer behind the Soul Care for Single Black Women Facebook and Instagram pages, where her nearly 5,000 followers get both insightful and sometimes hilarious content to help them on their journey as a single Black woman. Now, she has been featured on Sirius XM's Ask the Good Doctor, Black and Married with Kids, and the NBC affiliate WMC TV, just to name a few. Now, Tracy's mission this year is to help 100 singles become ready women, which is a term that she has coined for her alumni of her programs who've learned to practice a soul care lifestyle, which is the gateway to reaching your hashtag relationship goals. Welcome to the Christie Taylor Show, Tracy Ready.
Thank you. Thank you. I should just take you around with me so you can read that. You said it so beautifully.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, honey, you have amazing things going on. And when I had the joy of reading all of your accolades, I was like, yeah, my girl got it going on. So, Tracy, first and foremost, we had the joy of meeting here in Memphis, but now you're making Dallas home. For those beyond the bio, give us a little something about Tracy and her journey to this space.
Well, I mean, it's been quite a journey, a fun journey. Let's see. I would say that my journey can be marked by, as many people, one of faith and one of growth. Just being open to the possibilities of what lies ahead. When I moved to Dallas, it was a complete faith leap. I didn't have a job. Didn't really know anybody, and it's really been a blessing being here. I've met my husband since I got here, and we've been together now. We'll have been married 3 years in March, and just this whole past few years has just been like one big wow, wow, God, wow, wow. So that's kind of the summary of it.
Now, of course, before we get into all of the dating, you are a licensed therapist? Is that, am I saying it correctly?
No, just therapist. I'm just a therapist. Marriage and family therapy is where I have my master's degree. And then I am certified in emotional intelligence, and I am also a dating coach.
Now, two of the things that was interesting to me was the fact that you have decided, being a family therapist, is to begin the journey to focus on women, particularly Black women. Can we talk about, first of all, your call to being a therapist and this particular niche that you're in?
Yes. So I really spent the first part of my career, after, even during and after college, working with families, working with couples. And what I really came to discover is that a lot of the things that they were struggling with, both as families and couples, would maybe could have been avoided if they had done some proactive work as individuals before they came together as a unit, and or as a couple. And so I decided to um, put my focus on helping people who are single become healthier and better prepared to be in a healthy relationship. Um, how you show up on the dating scene, how you show up as an individual determines the quality of, the relationship that you're going to be in. And it even determines the quality of the person that you will choose and allow to choose you. And so I just thought it would be more proactive to work with singles. And then as I began that journey, I saw where I really fit in working with single Black women. And that's where I've taken my career. That's where I've put my whole focus. And like I said, my goal is to help 100 single women this year, just to be more ready, more prepared to receive and to receive and give love.
Now, with that being said, you have decided to actually create an academy. Let's talk about from your practice to this particular niche.
Yes. So I felt that, well, I guess I can tell you a little about how this all came about. So one of the things that prompted me, aside from my education, having a degree in marriage and family therapy, and then my work as a counselor, um, the other side of this is my own personal journey. So I had gone through a terrible breakup. I had gone through I thought I was about to get married. We were on this trajectory of, it's going to be us. And he had made this, we hadn't quite proposed, but he had made this declaration that, oh my gosh, I can't believe I found my wife. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we're on that journey. And that didn't work out. And but that was the first time that I really, in all my years and all the guys I had dated and things like that, that was the first time I really had any belief that this was actually going to happen. And when it didn't happen, it was a huge disappointment. So with that being said, in that healing process, and I guess maybe we can talk about that a little bit in detail a little bit more later, in that process, I felt God telling me, you know what? I'm going to use you to help other women. So take note of what you're going through. And from that, the programs were born, and therefore Ready to Date Academy was born. And so that's what prompted the academy more so than just one-on-one things. There was a process that was given to me, and I wanted to have a way of giving it to others. So it seemed the most efficient way to do it is to put it in the form of a program.
Definitely one thing I've learned is that hurt often brings about healing under God's direction. So we definitely can dive into the process. So
Mm-hmm.
feel free. So we can also lead that into the soul care for Black women.
Okay, yeah. So a part of the process, one of the things that happened, that wasn't the first time that I had my heart broken, right?
Of
Um,
course not. Of course not.
not. Who
Life,
gets
life, life.
who gets to their 30s and they've never had a heartbreak? But it was the first time, like I said, that I really had belief that wow, this is my, as they used to say, IBM, my ideal Black man. you know. And so the disappointment wasn't just a short fall; it was a big fall. But one of the things that I had learned, unlike with other heartbreaks in the past, I'm like, I'm over it. Guys are a dime a dozen. I'll find another, whatever, whatever. Well, with this one,
Right.
like it really shook me. I could not hardly eat. I could barely sleep. I was crying. I was on the floor. A week after he and I broke up, I got laid off my job. It was just a whole bunch of stuff. And so, what I learned, what the difference between that heartbreak and ones in the past is, I had become a counselor in that time period, and I knew that it was more to healing than just suck it up, girl, and keep going. And I had to really do the work to heal. And I discovered that that is not something we like to do. And so part of the healing process is really three parts. One, you really have to understand your past. And I know we hear a lot of that, or maybe I do because I'm in therapy circles, but we hear a lot of hey, you need to talk about your family, your family of origin, how your parents were, how you were raised, and all that stuff. That stuff is really important. It's not just psychobabble. It really shapes who you are. So we do a really deep dive into understanding how you were raised, how you were brought up. And then from there you have to go into getting new tools, because up until that point you've done things a certain way, and it was probably based in the bad things that you picked up along the way. And so you go into this phase of getting new tools, gathering new ways of doing things, new mindsets, new opportunities, just looking at life, and in this case dating, in a different way. And then we go into the third phase, which is what I call a dating experiment. And it makes some people shudder a little bit, but other people are excited about it. But basically you have to put the stuff into practice. What I learned when I first did my program, we did the first two phases, and I didn't do anything else with the ladies. And I would find that they were somewhere just sitting back, not putting the stuff into practice. So I made the dating a part of the program, and they, it really changed everything. I've had women who gone on to meet their husbands during the process. I've had women who have just enjoyed the process of dating better. Listen, if you're a single lady, you need to be dating. I'm sorry. Ooh, church mad at me, I'm sure. But you need to be dating. That don't mean sleeping with. That means getting out there, getting yourself exposed and engaged with different men. And it's just conversations. Can you sit down? Look, pastors, can they sit down and just have a conversation over a meal? That's what I'm saying. Can they sit down and just do that? It ain't about going and getting wild. It is just not getting lost in the humanity of the relationship. A lot of times we think about the spiritual aspects, and yes, that stuff is very important. But there's also a human side to the dating process. There's also a very much natural side to it. And I think God wants to have us not be weird when a man comes around and we're like, oh my God, he's here. And we start treating him like he's the one, and he's never even made that kind of commitment to you. And so sometimes we break in our own hearts when we start approaching dating from this, I'm focused on this one guy, versus, hey, let me get out here, explore my options, see what's out there. And when it's time for you to settle in with the one, that'll come to you. You'll be
what you're speaking to oftentimes is something we don't develop, particularly in Christian circles, is social skills. I mean, relationship building, even starting with ourselves, which of course goes back into the relationship that you seek to help us develop through the Soul Care for Black women.
Yes.
Now let's talk about particularly that aspect of it. And with over 5,000 friends between Facebook and Instagram, there's a lot of women who are resonating with seeking that. So let's talk to that niche and some of the takeaways we can have today.
As Black women, I think it's fair to say that our soul has kind of been put on the back burner. And when I say soul, I don't mean as far as spiritual aspect and going to church, reading the Bible, or whatever you believe. I mean in terms of your heart, your emotions, the place where you process your thinking processes, how you perceive the world. That's really your soul. I have a whole thing, y'all. We can talk about that later, but the whole thing describing what your soul actually is, because the part of you that's connected to God is really your spirit. Your spirit is the thing that's going to live on forever. Your soul is the place where you're processing things and feeling. And because so many of us have had to be so strong and had to be we've had to somewhat abandon our femininity. And so we don't get to always care for the soul. So when I was trying to think of what it is I wanted to do for us and what it is, I wanted the focus I want us to have on ourselves, I'm like, we need to deal with our soul. We need to get in there and figure out the operating system that is, our emotions and our heart and things like that. People like to try to say, oh, your feelings don't count. Feelings aren't important. Yes, they are. They are important. And it's not that they need to rule your life, but they do rule your life when you don't know how to handle them, when you're trying to stuff them away and not deal with them. So what I try to do is put emotions in their proper place. And here's my definition of emotions. Emotions are indicator lights. Just like your car has an oil light, and when it's time to change the oil, you're like, oh, I need to go over here to Jiffy Lube or wherever you need to go. When that emotion pops up, is, oh, I need to do something. But for so many years, even centuries, we have said, oh, something popped up. I got to put that down because I got to go handle this. I got to go deal with that. So I think we're in a time and a season, we've had the industrial age, we've had the information age. I think it's time for the healing age, for us to just really go within and say, and just say, God, open this up and show me what I need to heal, what I need to fix, so that I can be healthier. So that's kind of what the purpose and the goal behind Soul Care for Single Black Women is to create a space for us to say, I'm gonna come here and I'm going to have my healing journey and start my healing journey.
5,000 women. Now, of course, they not only get dating tips, but like you said, some of the hilarity that you share. Why is that important?
You gotta laugh, girl. Some of this stuff be so crazy. Some of it is so. Some of the things that we do, obviously, we go very deep, and we dig into all these past hurtful experiences and things that have caused us pain. And we need a little levity. We need a little something sometime to just laugh. Just say, "Chad, that was funny," and just take a load off. It's all in there. Humor is one of the emotions. It's one of the emotions that shows up in your soul. It can light up your whole soul. And of course, it's biblical and all that, but it's a part of it. We don't just explore negative emotions, although we have to deal with those. We want to explore the good ones too. So laughter is one of those, and humor is one of those.
Now, let's talk about emotions because we do tend to focus solely on the negative emotions that we don't acknowledge or we discount the positive ones.
You're right. You're right. You're right. It can be a imbalance of um emotional intelligence if all you do is focus on, oh, I'm sad, oh, this person hurt me, oh, that happened. One of the things that keeps us in either depression or anxiety, a lot of times depression is when you're focusing so heavily on the past and what you can't change. Anxiety is you're focused so far in the future and worrying about what's going to happen.
Wow.
These happy emotions are things that keep us present right now. When you can say, "I'm grateful," or "Ha ha, this is funny right now," or even calling up a memory from the past that brings you joy. Those are the types of things that help keep us present and in the moment. And I think they're important to mix it all in. When you get too far on the left or right and you just all you want to do is laugh and make jokes about everything, then that's no. But then sometimes you get too far on all you want to do is fix yourself and deal with your sadness. You got to mix it all in because that's what makes a complete you. That's what makes a complete you. You're not one thing.
Now, Tracy, you started this conversation off talking about that your process was born out of your own, breakup. And of course, we now know you are married, even as you said. So, for those who might be wondering, how did you do it?
Oh, girl. So what had happened was, and it happened in a short time, honey, because the Lord don't take long when when you do the work. And that's true. The Lord don't take long when you do the work. But what had happened was, this not happened in a year. So from January to I think it was Mayish is when that relationship was coming to an end and ultimately ended in May. And then I spent the next I think 3 or 4 months really healing, dealing with things that had happened. Literally the same process that I walk women through, dealing with things that happened in my past. Because here's the thing, even though that guy was my IBM, I had always had the idea like, girl, you cute, guys a dime a dozen, you'll get another one. But I didn't have that with this. It was like, oh my God, why am I hurting like this over him? Like he cool and all, but why can't I just push past? And what I came to discover was that that pain of rejection from him really was tied back to some other things that had happened. So that path of healing led me to have some really uncomfortable conversations. It led me to address some people and some things that had just been in the background in my soul. Had my thinking and my perceptions all way off, and so I had to deal with those things. And then from there, I started to really gain my confidence that I don't have to be boggled down by this stuff. And so when all that baggage was removed, girl, my chest raised a little bit and my shoulders came up, and I was like, girl, you out here different now. And so it really built my confidence, and I started to have more capacity to communicate clearly what I wanted and not shy away from it. I was able to turn, if I didn't like something, I would say so rather than just, well, I just put up with it and see what happened. And so, I really owned my voice even before I started dating. I owned my voice even with my family. It was family members that I had to tell, listen, here it is, and here's how it's gonna be. And that was something that I didn't have before. And for you or for anybody else, that may not be your struggle, but I assure you, whatever your struggle is, something will come up in your healing process that you don't really know about yourself, that you hadn't really thought about yourself. Because when you start unpacking that stuff starts falling off and you start shining differently. And then from there, the most interesting thing happened was the dating, because I grew up in an environment where, dating was frowned upon. And I just wasn't in the dating like that, but I felt like God was saying, now I need you to go out. I need you to go meet people. And I'm like, God, that's so sinful of you. Why would you say that? That ain't of you. What are you saying? And I was really fighting against it, but I really felt like the Lord was sending me on this journey to actually date something I had never done. Like, I talked to guys in the past, but it always been because we ran the same circle, or our church fellowship with their church, or it was a friend of a friend or somebody from college. But just to date, just casually, just go out and meet people, had never done that. And so I set up in my mind, I was like, I'm going to go out on 10 first dates. I'm clearly, not sleeping with anybody, but I'm not trying to find my husband. I'm not trying to give my heart away to anybody. I'm just going out here to see what's out here, just out of a sense of curiosity. And I tell you, I started meeting guys on levels that I had never met before. Like, I mean,
now, Tracy, you just said 10 first dates.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that.
Yeah, 10 first dates, 10 different guys. Exactly what it sounds like there.
That means that no second date, or it's just literally just
for a period of time, for the time of the experiment. I just went out on the 10 first dates. Now, with some of them after the experiment, I did go out again with them, because I liked them, or we had a good, cool vibe going on. One of them, he's still one of my good friends now, So everybody, it wasn't like a romantic connection, but it was still cool. And so, yeah, I went out on my 10 first date scare, and I mean, it wasn't weird. I didn't have to, well, I'm doing an experiment right now, so I can't go out with you. Again, it was more of, it was just natural. Like, we were talking, if we would plan another date, and I would plan it far out enough to where I could finish my 10 dates here. And so it was just a really eye-opening experience. I learned a lot about myself and some of the unrealistic expectations I had. But then I also learned a whole lot about men. And I grew up with, I had uncles, and I have a brother, and of course my dad, but I didn't grow up with very many. And I got cousins, but the ones that are my age, they weren't always, I didn't get to experience them as like they could teach me about men in a dating aspect, if that makes sense. And so, I got to learn things about men and how they operate, and what they do. And it was just really eye-opening and very freeing. It was very freeing to be able to tell an executive at that, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're a great guy, but no, I'm good. To be able to say no, as opposed to feeling like I had to say yes. You know what I mean? It gave me that space to own my voice and to own my own experience, as opposed to having to, oh girl, that's a good man. He got a good job. You better get him. You better keep him. All that desperation stuff was just watched out the door. And so from there, the experiment ended, and I was like, man, that was a lot of fun. And I was content. I was content with it. I was like, if any other dates come up, that's fine, but it's cool, it's whatever. I even switched cities during the experiment. So I had 5 dates in Memphis, and I had 5 dates in Dallas too. So it was a lot of fun. And then when it was over with, I was just like, whew. I closed my account, my dating app account, and I was just content. I was just like, whatever. And one of my mentors, who I hope is watching this, she said, you ought to get back on there one more time. And I'm like, now, ma'am, you don't even have a Facebook account. How you gonna tell me to get on a dating app? So I get on there, and literally, I am not joking or exaggerating, the very first person I saw was my husband. And I was like, oh, he wasn't on here when I logged off last time. Where he come from? And so I'm looking, I was like, he's cute. And then I looked at his profile, girl. He was tall, he was all that. And another thing that happens when you work on yourself, when you deal with that, when you actually do the healing work, that list of all the must-haves for a future spouse, a mate, whatever, it shrinks. Because a lot of times our list is just a list of things that we haven't dealt with in ourselves. So, I ain't got no patience. Well, you need to go deal with why you don't. I don't know I don't like confrontation. Well, you need to go learn how to communicate. And so we try to put all these items on the list and put a wall around us so that we don't have to deal with the stuff we don't want to deal with. And so as you heal, all that crap started coming down. Girl, I had like a 4-page list. It got down to 2 things. I said, Lord, listen, I want 2 things, Lord. I said, I want him to love you more than he loves himself, because I feel like in that he'll know how to love me. And number 2, Lord, I know I'm being petty, but can he be tall? And honey, when I saw my husband on that thing, I saw that he was 6'8". I said, well, look at God. Look at him.
Look at him.
Won't he do it? And so then we talked, and we ended up meeting, and we almost haven't been there has almost been no day that we haven't been together since we met back there in 2013. We've been together almost every day since.
Tracy, now, for some women, they were like, first of all, that sounded like a lot of fun. But one thing you introduced into that experiment was online dating. And, let's talk about that. There's still, even in the 21st century, people are still hesitant. Now, what are some guidelines? Now, of course, we're going to get to how they really need to connect with you and have you walk with them through this journey. But just, if somebody's out there and like, hey, there is some caution, but there is some fun that can happen through it. What's your advice?
You know what? First and foremost, I would tell women, or anybody really, quit treating online dating like it's any different from meeting somebody at the Kroger, okay? Because you can meet a clown at Kroger, you can meet him on Match.com. I mean, it just is what it is. So you're going to have to come up and show up as your full and your best self and your real authentic self, and you will attract real, And that's what I do. When we get to that portion of the work that I do with women, when we get to that part, we do a very intensive scrub of her dating profile, if she has one at all, or we build out one, and it's one to try to show her her true self, but then also let it be known that she's not here to play games. So it's a way to do that. The same way you don't go into Kroger skipping, looking stupid. You're not gonna go online looking crazy either. And we have to. But sometimes that doesn't translate, and sometimes people don't know how to do that, portray themselves online, so that it doesn't look like they're there to play, or they're there to open for any kind of activity, so to speak. So that'd be my biggest advice. If you haven't had anybody to really help you build a profile, then do that. And then my second thing is safety. One of my clients calls my little safety protocol like the CIA of dating. She was like, because I go through a whole litany of, okay, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that, do this, to protect your safety. I'll give you one little tip. The rest of them, y'all gonna have to come see me. One thing, and this may be, it may, at least back in the day when I was dating and when I was using this was very important. It might be more well known now, but I recommend getting a second phone line for your just totally dedicated to dating. Something that's not connected to your business, not connected to your job, not connected to your school if you're in school, not connected to your home, just this random number that you use for dating. My actual husband right now, girl, we joke to this day because he said, you gave me the old fake number. And I'm like, I didn't know you. I'm all in a new city. I didn't know you. So I'm not giving you my number. And so, he eventually got the real number. But the point is, your phone number nowadays is like a social security number. You can put it in Google and they say, here, pay us $1.95, and they will tell you everything about that person and everybody connected to them. So I feel like safety is very important. Like I said, I have a whole litany of a whole section dedicated to do this, do that, do this, do that. And I have not had any bad luck since yet. Praise the Lord. But yeah, that really just know how to present yourself, is one thing, but then also being safe about it. And online dating is no different. When you do that, online dating is no different than meeting somebody in person.
We're going to actually, when we come back from this break, we're going to get into all the good things that you have lined up in your program to kind of give them an appetizer, a taste of what they can look forward to. right, we are back with Tracy Ready. She is the number one dating coach in America, particularly for Black women. So care for Black women. And I would like for you, as we, get into this next phase of this conversation, really break down your program, how people can get engaged in it. Of course, scrolling across the bottom, they can definitely check out your website, which has a comprehensive, approach to how you do things, but just kind of give them some insight. Somebody might be watching this like, okay, she's nice, she's fun, she's making me feel like I can get back out here. I've had my heart broken, and I'm going to put myself out here. It's like I haven't dated in forever, even before COVID. So to really get out here and date, particularly if you're a woman of a certain age, meaning 40 and up, you just be like, girl, child, I used to, but honey, I ain't about that life no more.
Mm-hmm.
What can you share with us, to kind of get us kind of energized to, take that step?
You know what? It really depends on you and your motivation for wanting this in your life. You have to, just like with anything that you want, if you were considering going back to school, you have to make a conscious choice. Okay, I'm going back to school. Let me see what I need to do. Or if you say, hey, I want to, I don't know, learn how to fly a plane, you got to say, okay, I need to go where I need to go. Well, the same thing with dating, sugar. Don't just hop up and just go do it. You need to learn some stuff, especially if you haven't dated in a while, or if the last time you dated, obviously things have changed, a lot. And so the thing that I would say is really sit down. Because I think a lot of times what happens when you stay out of the dating world for so long or a lot, I think what happens is it becomes this little afterthought. If it happens, I mean, and you kind of treat it like this, whatever. Well, you're gonna be attracting whatever kind of men. But whatever energy you put into it, that's what you're gonna get back out of it. It works with this too. And so you got to sit down and really make that decision. Do I want someone to spend the rest of my life with? Yes or no? And quit treating it like, well, I'm gonna lean over here when they have when Christie had a little dating coach on, or over here when Oprah do the little special on Black love, I lean into that. No, sit down for yourself and decide, do I want this? And if you do, now, just like if you were going to go back to school for something, make that decision. Say, I'm going to call Tracy, and I'm going to set up an appointment so that we can start my journey towards getting back out there. And it's got to be that decision. And I don't know if that stirred nobody up or not, but I'm just but I'm just saying, if you treat it like an afterthought, don't question why you keep getting afterthought men. Don't question why you keep getting ghosted. Don't question why the guys are treating you this way or that way. I'm not saying that they're right. They're absolutely wrong for doing it that way. But my point is, there's a different type of guy available when you actually put forth the effort to do the work. And I've actually had women. It's funny you mentioned it, Chrissy, because I've had women who have told me, as we're talking about them potentially signing up, and they're like, "Well, what if I do all this work and then I don't meet nobody that's done work too?" That's possible, but I'm telling you, it's highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely that you will only meet. You're gonna meet a mix of guys, because I feel like when you do go back out there and you do that dating experiment, I actually feel like you kind of meet a mix of people to help you address and re-encounter, for lack of better words, all the types of guys you've dealt with in the past and you fell victim to, so to speak. I think it gives you an opportunity. Dating gives you an opportunity to face those issues and address them again, but in a different way, with the baggage gone, with the anxiety gone, with the insecurities gone. And so my biggest encouragement for you is decide what you want and then go after it, just like you would get anybody else who's done it, and who, you get a doctor who's been through medical school. You get a pilot who knows how to fight. You get somebody who's been there, done that, and done it well, to help you get to where you want to be. Do the same with your dating. Don't treat it like an afterthought. Don't treat it like, oh, can't nobody tell me about that because I'm me and she don't know me well enough. Honey, I do the work to get to know. I be y'all know y'all still suntan. I'm just saying. But my point is, make a decision and then do the work, and you will see the results. You will see the difference.
Now, one of the things that you did say that somebody said, well, she almost had me, but she said, do I want to have somebody I want to spend the rest of my life with? What about that lady or gentleman who says, well, maybe not a lifetime partner, but someone that I can really, have a companionship with in this moment? Do you address that as well? Because maybe a lifetime partner is not what they're looking for. I mean, just real talk on that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I have had clients who have gone through the process and discovered, you know what, I just enjoy dating. And I enjoy dating without the fear of getting hurt or all those, like I said, all the baggage that comes along with when you're dating with the baggage versus when you're dating without it. And so I've had clients who got to the end of the process and said, you know what, this was great. It really helped me see myself and become a better version of myself. And I just enjoy dating now. I just enjoy going out and meeting different people, experiencing different things, experiencing different people's what they like to eat or the places they like to go. And it kind of just opens you up to the idea of companionship, whether that means lifetime, long term, or just for a moment. But you get to do it from a proactive place of power, rather than you kind of getting drugged through the dating scene and you getting drugged through it doesn't have to be that way. Girl, listen, I tell everybody, if you are not enjoying dating, you are doing it wrong, because it is enjoyable, it is fun, and you should be enjoying it. If you're not, come talk to me. I can help you. No matter what your goal is, I can help you.
I have been definitely enjoying this conversation. So let me tell you this. I have enjoyed the laughter that you bring to this approach, because for some people, dating is horrific, and you really help us move into a space where it's like, okay, wonderment, when we were children,
Mhm.
that before the heartbreaks, all those type of things. Now, uh, you keep saying to connect with you. How do they do it? And really, what is the step to make that step to make sure they lock it down with the dating consultant coach?
Okay, you go to tracyready.com and you sign up for a consultation. You sign up for a consultation, and we'll do some Q&A, and really discover like where you are, and and see which program, because I have two different ones: the dating masterclass and the soul detox. And
What's the difference between the two programs?
well, the biggest difference, they both still follow that general framework of dealing with the past, getting new tools, going on dates. But the primary difference between them is the Soul Detox is a group experience where it's you and other ladies. You're all completing this program together. We're having monthly meetings. Um, and of course, we have a community where you can come in and ask questions and say, "Hey, y'all, I'm stuck right here." It's a very beautiful place of healing amongst us. And then a dating masterclass is a one-on-one thing. It's a more accelerated experience. The Soul Detox is about 6 months. The dating masterclass is more accelerated. We finish all the material within 3 months, and then I stick with you for a month of dating. And it just kind of guides you through that process, get that all going. But that's the biggest difference of the two. One of them we meeting every week, one-on-one. The other is a group experience. And yeah, they just go to tracyready.com and go to schedule a consultation and just put in your information and sign up. And honey, that's the first step. But don't be scared of Ready, chat, because that's why we made my name Ready, because I want to deal with people who truly have made the decision that I am ready to move forward in this area of my life. I'm not trying to convince you that you need a man. I ain't none of that. I don't use scare tactics or or fear mongering, or girl, you're gonna be by yourself. No, I just want you to be healthy. So that peradventure, as my late pastor used to say, peradventure, you do decide that you do want to be in something, or something comes along that's good, you're prepared. I found out the difference of what I do versus what I used to do, which is more of therapy and counseling. Therapists and many therapists send their clients to me. Um, a therapist is going to help you heal, just overall, in general, heal. I help you prepare for love. I help you prepare for a relationship. And that's a big difference. That's a huge difference. I had a potential client recently tell me, she was like, I was working with my therapist, and You know, when I told her I was ready to date, she's like, "Oh, well, just go get on some dating apps and you'll be fine." And you know, it's more, which is, you know, if that's not her area of expertise, it's just not. But I look at what I do as the equivalent of you going to your general practitioner, and then they specialize and saying you, hey, you need to go see an eye doctor, or you need to go see a cardiologist for specialized care. That's what I do. I specialize in helping you prepare for love. Whether you decide to go that route and do the long-term thing or not, it's better to be prepared and not needed than needed and don't have it.
Mm. That's beautiful. I told you before, and you had invited me to one of your weekly lives you do on Friday for the Soul Care for Black Women Facebook group, and we talked about even some of my hesitations, and
Yes.
I did not stick to my affirmation, my mantra, which was about delaying. Can you talk about that?
Delaying the process. Listen, everybody, and I do mean literally everybody I've ever worked with, somehow would prefer, as we will in other parts of life too, would prefer to skip the process and just get right on to the good part. You know, where you meet the guy, y'all go on, live happily ever after. Baby, ain't no happily ever after if you ain't planted them seeds. And you plant those seeds by doing the work. But the longer you delay the work, and I say work, I hate to use the word work, the process. The longer you delay the process, sometimes we be saying this, my favorite phrase, I'm waiting on God. 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 Baby, listen, sometimes God's sitting there waiting on you. And I say that because in every case that I've worked with somebody, even with myself when I did this process years ago, my husband was right there at the end of it. Like within 30 days of finishing up the whole experiment, he was right there. So a lot of times we are sitting there I'm just being patient, having faith. No, you having fear. You're afraid to go through the process. And when you do that, you delay everything. There are people, there are situations that need you to show up. And sometimes that's your relationship. Sometimes that's your future marriage, your future spouse. Y'all's lives are on hold because you delaying it. Or altogether denying it. That's why I say sit down and determine what it is you really want. And then also, you know, I don't know, you know, whatever you believe, but seek God and say, is this something that's for my life? Because if it is, then he really truly is like, when are you going to do so I can move this all forward? You know? So yeah, that whole delaying thing is just not good for any area of your life, but not even for this area.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. You all make sure you go. And I just said you all. I did say it. You all go to her website today, schedule your consultation, and also be sure to follow her on all her social media, including Soul Care for Single Black Women. To do it today. Don't delay. And yes, ma'am. I'm gonna
Chrissy,
do my homework.
Now yet. You'll be back.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my homework. I'm gonna do my homework. I'm gonna do my homework. Before you turn around, you're gonna be like, oh, I got an email from Christy. I got my submission from Christy.
Yes.
I'm gonna surprise you. I'm gonna surprise you. You're gonna be surprised. And I'll say this because we are talking about love and relationship in the month of February. You know, it is a decision that it's like, okay, I don't want to rush into it. I want to make sure if I do it. And I did actually put a prayer up, and very candidly, because I've never been married, don't have children, and I have made a lot of decisions where I put other, professional pursuits and dreams ahead of that area. And even, if I engaged in a relationship, very candidly, it wasn't the primary. So when you say afterthought relationship, I was like, oh, girl, why she hit me? Why she hit me?
You had to go get your ass together.
Right, had to. But so I really want to say that it is, as with everything, it's like making a decision, a life-altering decision, a life-affirming decision, a life-changing decision. So in this year, 2021, in this month of love, I am definitely committing to, that soul search And more importantly, that soul care, which I love that approach. And I am interested in finding out more about it. And actually, that's one reason why I'm so grateful that you decided to say yes to being on the Christie Taylor Show, to add that extra nudge that I need, because yeah, there's fears, there's all
Absolutely.
kinds of things. So I appreciate you putting the love and the laughter in it. And I feel that, and I know everybody watching today is like, if you all have enjoyed any show, this is definitely a Christie Taylor show you should have thoroughly enjoyed. And I appreciate your gift and I want to say your anointing in
Mm,
helping women heal. And
mm.
I truly do feel that. I do that. Any last words you want to say before we go?
You resonated with me when you said there are a lot of fears, there are a lot of concerns, a lot of hesitation. Um, I've had women say, I wouldn't have anybody help me learn how to date. This is more than just learning how to date. That's a part of it too. This is also about you becoming the healthier version of yourself. Look, there is nothing inherently wrong with you. There is nothing about you that says she's unworthy of being loved, um or she inherently doesn't deserve to have what she wants. And I know sometimes when you're dating and you're going through the motions and you're just meeting guy after guy that's just a mess, it can feel like, well, maybe I'm just ain't supposed to be doing this, honey, and you just want to back out. That's the time to lean into the process. That's the time, not so much as dating, but like I said, working with somebody too. And I'm not just promoting myself. I'm truly, even if you don't work with me, to be honest with you, even if you don't work with me, go to someone who can walk you through that process so that you can become the healthier, more clear version of yourself, so that when you are dating again, you can see things for what they are. You don't run that risk of being uh, you know, taken advantage of, or being caught up in some kind of process, or some kind of process that takes you off track. Dating doesn't have to be that. Pursuing that process of learning how to give and receive love, it just doesn't have to be that. You don't have to be afraid. There is a process already laid out for you. All you got to do is make the choice and the commitment to take the steps, and I'll lead you through it. Worst that can happen is you're just gonna be happy and by yourself. The best that can happen, you're gonna be amazing. You're gonna meet this amazing guy, and your life will be blessed because of it. My testimony is that I met my husband, and literally, he's making me a better person. We have come together as two whole people, and we have never had to have that. Oh, that first year is hard. No, we have conflict and we deal with it because he too had been on his own journey. So I'm telling you, you guys, when you do that process, I don't like to say work, but when you do the work, do the process, things change. Things change. Don't try to figure it out. This is my last thing I'm gonna say, Chris. Don't try to figure it out. We all worry about, oh girl, where do I meet the man? When I'm gonna meet him? Should I move to a new city? That ain't your concern. God, that's the stuff God work on. You just need to be prepared. That's it. That's it. Your only job is being prepared. Don't worry about where you're gonna meet him, how you're gonna meet him, if you're gonna meet him, when you're gonna meet him. Your job is to be prepared. And that's what I help you do. Bless.
Thank you, Tracy.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Tracy Ready. Y'all, let's get ready. TracyReady.com. Also, Soul Care for Single Black Women. All right, blessings to you. Be sure to check her out. Soul Care for Single Black Women. I love it. All right, Tracy, we're about to go, darling. Until next time, y'all be sure to check us out. The Christie Taylor Show, also available on social media platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, and of course, it's your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, blessings.
Bye.